was doing an interview, and the guy I met, okay, he was maybe about, I don't know, 33, 34, okay. Met him at Starbucks, coffee for an interview. It was a lady by the name of Michelle at Manpower, okay. Um, she had referred him to me, okay. And she was saying that how, okay, if he didn't have money for um, steel toe boots, okay, I could provide that, okay. And so I met him at the coffee shop, okay, for the interview, okay. And another reason why I'm making this interview too is just for educational purposes too, okay. For the people who are trying or want to, work in the trades, okay. Um, so I was talking to him, and I was just asking him, okay, what kind of construction experience do you have? Okay, didn't have any construction experience. Okay, he was bragging to me how good he was. Okay, um, but he didn't know how to do anything. Okay, in construction, anyways, and he told me also too. Okay, he hasn't been working in 5 years. Okay, so I was kind of wondering, well, okay, if he hasn't worked in 5 years, what the hell has he been doing, right? Um, so, I said to him, well, what have you been doing for the past 5 years then? And then he goes, oh, learning computers, okay. And I asked him, okay, well, what did you learn in computers? And he goes, well, how to turn it on and off. So I was thinking to myself, this guy is, he's not that bright, okay? Wow, I started to feel that, he was just kind of like a bum, okay? Um, you can't train these guys to do anything because, wow, I already told you about the other worker I had that, I tried to train him. Anything that I tried to show him, the next day, he'd already forgotten what I showed him, okay? Um, so I was asking him some more questions on, different things. And, I guess he felt that, you know, um, I wasn't going to hire him. And, he, he felt that, well, he was kind of a bum. And, in the middle of the interview, he just got up and he said, okay, thanks for your time, and shook my hand and, just walked away. Okay. Um, he did even finish the interview. Okay. Um, he, I couldn't relate to the guy. And, I think a lot of times too, when he's talking to other people, okay, he just can't relate to them either. Okay. So I wrote Michelle, okay, big long email, just explaining why these people can't work, okay. Um, she didn't even bother to, well, write me an email back, okay. She just didn't say anything, okay. Must be really hard for these guys to, well, go through life. Um, just to find something that they like doing, or even to find a job for that matter, okay? Because their employment skills are just, well, they're terrible, okay? They could do almost nothing, okay? They have no skill whatsoever, okay? I wouldn't be surprised this guy's level of education was probably quite low too. maybe at a grade 7 level, maybe lower, okay? Um, believe it or not, okay, I still remember one of my workers, he asked me what 15 times 4 was, okay? I thought he was joking around, okay? And then I looked at him, I realized he was serious, okay? And I said 60, okay? And, you know, he didn't even realize that not to know what 15 times 4 was not quite normal, okay? Because I asked my 11-year-old nephew, okay, do you know what 15, well, I told, you know, my brother, and I asked my, well, 11-year-old nephew, do you know what 15 times 4 is? And he goes, yeah, 60, okay? And then I was telling the story to one of my other workers, okay, how one of my workers didn't know what 15 times 4 was. And then I said to him, you know what 15 times 4 is, right? And then he goes, yeah, 70. And then I go, not 70. And then he goes, oh, yeah, 80. And then I go, not 80. And then he didn't know what 15 times 4 was either, okay? I think he was about 27 years old, okay? So, you know, 15 times 4, I think that's grade 4 level math, okay? So he had the math level of a, well, somebody in grade 4, okay? And so I had to tell him, okay, yeah, 15 times 4 is 60, okay? And, well, 15 times 2, okay, it's 30, okay? You just times that by, well, by 2, right? 30 times 2 is 60, okay? 15 times 3, 45, right? So, like I said, I'm making this video for educational purposes too, okay? Because, you know, sometimes I like the, you know, workers out there to see this video, okay? Because bosses are, you know, when they see that you got a grade 4 level math, okay? They're starting to wonder whether or not they can show you how to do anything on the job site, okay? Because you have to remember, you know, when you're doing the trades, you need you need math, okay? And you know, when the boss shows you how to do something, okay, if next day you've already forgotten what he's shown you, okay, some bosses will get very angry and mad at that, okay, because one, they're wasting their time, okay, two, they're whether or not you're sometimes whether or not you're even paying attention, okay, and three, well, they're starting to wonder whether or not, you know, you can even learn, whether or not you can even pick up stuff, okay, or improve as a worker, okay, your skill level on the job site, okay. Yeah, sure, maybe you know, if you cannot almost do nothing, you know, on the job site, then yeah, maybe this industry is not for you, right? Maybe you should just, well, go find and do something different that you're good at, right? But you know, when I was doing that interview with that worker, okay, you know, he had no skills whatsoever, okay. He couldn't tell me what he was doing for the past 5 years, okay. Like, you have to remember, okay, you know, if you're the person that I'm interviewing, okay, like, you have to think a bit about, you know, what your boss, what the interviewer is thinking, you know, whether or not this person, you know, is even, you know, that intelligent, right? Because, you know, it's not quite normal to have not have been working, you know, 5 years, okay? Maybe if you're going to school, yeah, okay? But if you can't even describe to me, okay, um, you know, you were learning computers, and you can't even describe to me, you know, what you've learned in the past 5 years of learning computers, okay, that I'm starting to wonder whether or not, okay, are you lying to me, okay? Are you just not that bright and you didn't pick up anything that the teacher even taught you about computers, okay? Because I remember when I was learning computers, okay, I learned how to use a spreadsheet. I learned how to use PowerPoint. Um, I learned how to use the Microsoft Word document, okay? Um, Microsoft Word document is uh, kind of like a word processor, okay? You use it to type things up, okay? Um, Write letters to people, okay? And you can edit it, okay? Um, you can have different pages, okay? You could save it to the cloud. You could save it to your documents section in your computer. Um, is kind of like a digital digital media storage file area. Okay, it's not stored on your computer or your hard drive or anything like that. It's stored in the digital cloud. It's something separate from your computer. Okay. Um, Microsoft Word is well, you can even well, you can print it up. Okay, you can print it up on sheets of paper. Okay. Um, I use it quite commonly in my business because sometimes I make quotes for customers, okay, and then I I scan it into a PDF, and then from there uh, I make an email, and then I download it to my email, and I send it to my computer. Now, with my customer, when he clicks on the PDF, it opens up, and then he can see the document. He can see the quote. Okay, how much I plan to charge him, my WCB number, my email address, how long the job will take, maybe, um, whether or not there might be any additional costs, how much tax he's paying. Okay. Sometimes I list a separate price estimate for materials, okay? But, you know, that's what customers like to see, okay? That they like to see that you're organized. They also sometimes want to see some of your previous projects, okay? It always helps to have your picture, your face in there too, okay? So you're not just going out and snapping a picture of somebody else's work, right? Some before and after pictures, okay? So they see the quality of your work, okay? So another thing, they know that you're not lying to them, okay? Because when I was talking to my Tyler, okay? I had a Tyler last year, okay? I don't think he was a Tyler, okay? I was telling him a story about that, okay? If people cannot see before and after pictures of your work with you in the picture, okay? They have doubts whether or not you can even do the work, okay? Or whether or not you're even telling them the truth, okay? And these things are very important, okay? They'll make the difference whether or not you get hired or not, okay? Whether or not you'll get the job, okay? Sometimes these jobs are worth a few $1,000s, or sometimes, well, they're even bigger jobs, like $5,000, okay? Because sometimes, you know, maybe the job is, well, roofing his entire house with new roofing shingles, okay? Which is a big job. You need workers for that. You need a crew. Okay, even when you install all new vinyl windows and uh, new patio doors, okay, on a customer's home. There's roughly about 16 windows and one patio door, okay, to an average size home, okay. With one of my coworkers when I worked for one of the big vinyl window companies. Sometimes you have to collect quite a bit of money because these jobs are big, okay. They're worth between $5,000 to $10,000 a lot, sometimes even more, okay. So, you know, the customer gives me $5,000. I counted it out, you know, I write on a piece of paper, okay, him a receipt. You gave me this much money on this date at this time. I sign it. I get him to sign it, okay. I bring the money back to the warehouse. I give the money to the manager, okay. And then the manager knows how much money there should be, okay. I also give him the receipt too, okay, that I signed it, and the customer got a copy too, okay. When I was talking to my coworker, okay, after I've already left the company to go work at a different job. He said that the service guy took some of the money, okay. But you know, I just wanted to point out something here about, well, just, you know, goofing off on the job site. I consider that goofing off on the job site. You know that you're supposed to collect a certain amount of money, okay? Be it $5,000 or $6,000, okay? Supposed to bring it back to the warehouse, give it to the manager, okay? Supposed to give him a receipt, okay? You know, you probably didn't give him the receipt. You took some of the money, maybe a few $100s for yourself, okay? And you told the manager, oh, the customer only gave me $4,500 when he gave you $5,000, and you pocketed the $500, okay? I just call that goofing off on the job site, okay? So either way, I think they fired him, okay? And you know, you show that you can't be trusted with money, okay? On the, you know, while working for the company, okay? I had this crew of 3 workers on my company one time, okay? You see this fanny pack that I keep around my waist here, okay? My wallet's in here, okay? Sometimes when I'm working, I'll take it off at the customer's home. Usually put it on the inside the door. Anyways, after the job, when I went home, I was checking my wallet. I noticed I had $50 missing, okay? I knew it was probably one of the workers who went into my wallet and, well, took out some money, right? You know, I've always sometimes heard of, you know, other crews, okay? Somebody had stole something from the job site, whether it be a tool or something from the customer's home, okay? But it never happened to my company. And sure enough, when you're in this industry long enough that I've been, okay, you've probably seen a lot of different things. So anyways, you know, I had, I had a talk with all the 3 different workers, you know, just saying how, okay, you know, I'm not accusing you of taking the money, but, you know, if you're the one, you know, stealing, stealing from the company, okay, know that, you know, sooner or later, maybe, you know, we'll catch you stealing, or, you know, if you know that you're the one stealing, okay, you know, just leave the company, okay? And all of them said to me, no, I didn't steal the money, things like this, you know, I never steal from the customer's home. Anyways, to make a long story short, 3 weeks later, okay, one of my workers, he caught one of the workers stealing from the customer's house. Um, what it was, I think the guy worked at a casino, and in the carport, he saw some expensive decks of cards, and he stole one of them, okay? Because when he was bending over, um, his jacket, okay, a deck of cards fell out, and he was saying my worker and the customer saw it, and he was saying to him, "Oh, I wanted to ask you, whether or not I could, keep this deck of cards, And the customer said yes, but my worker told me afterwards what happened, and then, I didn't put up with it. I fired him, okay? I said to him, I told you 3 weeks ago what I would do if I caught, any guy stealing from me or from the customer's home, okay? And obviously he didn't listen, okay? He tried to steal something, okay? And well, one of the workers didn't catch him at the time, but he got caught afterwards because it fell out of his pocket, okay? I call that just, goofing off, okay? I don't think these guys, okay, they pick up any skills, okay? Maybe some of them change, okay? But, I'm making this for educational purposes for them too, okay? Nobody's gonna hire you, okay? And you have to remember too, okay? Maybe it's a bigger company that you're working for, okay? If you get caught stealing, okay, they're going to charge you for that, okay? It's theft, okay? There's no two ways around it, okay? Stealing is stealing, okay? You can't say, oh, I want to ask you whether or not I could keep that, okay? You have to remember, some of the boss's tools, okay, they're worth a lot of money, okay? Some of the power tools, okay, are over $100, okay? I remember, okay, when I was on one of my boss's job site, okay, one of the tools went missing, okay? This was about a $300 tool, okay? And, my boss asked me about it, okay? And then I saw my boss ask my coworker about it, okay? And my worker said, he didn't know, what had happened to it. And then, I could see my boss kind of smiling at him, like, he didn't believe him, okay? And I don't blame him for not believing him, just because I knew that he was an alcoholic, okay? And, he wasn't that dependable of a worker, okay? He would spend his entire paycheck at the bar a lot on payday, okay? He would get paid, okay? And, over the next, 3 or 4 days, okay, he was already broke, but he would tell you stories about, how he went to the bar, okay? He spent there like 1, 2 in the morning, okay? And you have to remember, okay, this is a weekday. You have to get up for work the next day, okay? But he's spending all his paycheck on, drinking at the bar. Probably the pretty bartender lady, okay? She probably knows you because you're kind of a regular there, right? She says, "Oh, Chris, stay a few hours longer, have a few more drinks," right? And sure enough, what does he do? He stays there for another three hours more. Now it's like 1, 2 in the morning, okay? You have to get up. You have to get up for work the next day, okay? So you're not fit for even going to work, okay? You have a big hangover, okay? I still remember him a lot of times during the summertime. Um, you could tell he had a big hangover, okay? And the customer, I could tell, didn't like it, okay? Because a lot of times we'd meet the customer in the morning, okay? You have to remember we're in affluent neighborhoods, upper rich to, upper middle class people, okay? And, the customer would say good morning to him, and then, he was so, um, dead-eyed that, he would even say good morning back to the customer, because, he was so hungover, okay? He was almost like in another world, almost like, his eyes were half shut, he was like, kind of like looking off into the distance, right? And I remember the customer even saying to him, I said, gee, you think you're going to be able to make it through the day, I could tell that she was kind of upset seeing him like that. And well, even if I was the boss, I would be upset at him too. But I think the boss kind of knew what type of person he was already, right? And wow, he just bothered. He just stopped trying to lecture to him, okay? Because you have to remember he was an adult already, okay? You shouldn't have to be trying to babysit your worker, okay? But he just lived a very different lifestyle, and I noticed that in the trades, just seems like a lot of these guys are like that. They're heavy drinkers for some reason, or they're heavy marijuana users, right? Anyways, Chris, I know that. Okay, he was a heavy drinker. Okay, he was actually an alcoholic. Okay, and he also smoked a lot of marijuana. Okay, I know that. Well, he only made it to grade 7. Okay, so he didn't really know how to read or write. Okay, a lot of times at lunchtime. Okay, he didn't have even had packed a lunch. Okay, so I would buy his lunch for him, and he didn't pay me back. Okay, I knew he couldn't pay me back just because when you're spending a lot of your money at the bar and stuff like this, just not knowing how to budget your money properly. Okay, so I couldn't leave I couldn't leave my worker there, not to have anything to eat while I had something to eat. Right? I had to share my lunch with him, or either I had to buy his lunch for him. Okay, you have to remember he made more than me per hour, and he didn't know how to budget his money properly, right? Sometimes I would look at him and just kind of think, gee, this guy, he's constantly broke a lot. He comes to work, with a really bad hangover. Okay, and a lot of times he couldn't work that well for the first 3-4 hours in the morning, just because he was so hungover, right? Being around him was even dangerous for me, because you have to remember we're operating dangerous power tools. Okay, he almost caused a serious accident one morning because of it, and I almost got seriously injured because of it, because I was up on the plank 2 stories high. Okay, and sometimes the plank is, it's close to the house, and he was coming up the ladder. It's like half asleep. And he grabbed the plank, okay, because he felt it was too close to the house. He pulled it, okay, so the plank moved, I don't know, maybe 6 inches to a foot back. Okay, I was standing on the plank, and then I had a skill saw in my hand. And I was going like this on the plank because it felt like I was going to fall back. and I would have fell back about, well, I would have fell down maybe about 10 or 12 feet, and well, maybe seriously hurt myself, okay? And well, there would have been a WCB claim, and you know, if they found out that Chris was, well, he was drunk, okay, um, maybe I wouldn't have, well, maybe the boss would have got in a lot of trouble. Maybe I would have not even been able to make a claim because you had a person who was drunk, okay, on the job site, caused a serious accident to your worker, okay? It's negligence on the boss's part, okay? You let somebody on the job site who was drunk, okay, maybe even smoking really heavy with marijuana the night before, okay, and now you got a serious injury to your worker who's got maybe a seriously back injury, or maybe he broke his leg, right? Can't work for the next, you know, 3 or 4 months, okay? But you have to remember, sometimes these injuries, they're very deadly too, because if you fall wrong, okay, and you seriously injure your spine or your back, right, this could affect you for the next few years. WCB is not going to kind of look after you for that long. They want you to get back to work, okay? You're still complaining about your back that was injured, right? But then they might say, okay, well, how do we know that this is from the accident now, right? You know, maybe it's something else, right? You know, WCB will always sometimes, you know, make excuses. That's just how they operate, okay? You know, sometimes they feel that you're trying to cheat them, okay? And, you know, it's not that, it's not that easy sometimes, right? So I worked with Chris for about 2 years, and I went off to go work elsewhere. And you know, I'm making this video for educational purposes too, for the people that work in the trades, or people that are like him, and you know, they want to try to, you know, improve their life a bit, okay? You know, the things that you need to do, okay, to improve your life a bit. Probably one of them would be stop drinking, 1. 2, stop smoking or marijuana, okay? I think it's just a waste of money, okay? I think everybody knows how expensive marijuana is too, right? So yeah, I just wanted to make this video for educational purposes, for people that, well, are working in the industry already, or who plan to work in the industry, who want to try to be a good worker, okay?